Hi everybody and welcome to Penfinity. My name is Fresnel and in this quick one I'm gonna talk about the custom Fresnel I made previously. Because I have people who ask me about energy conservation, and if you know Cynicat Pro YouTube channel, he first came up with the custom Fresnel node include this factor. So the reason why I didn't implement it in my custom Fresnel is simply I just adjust it manually, because sometimes real life materials is much more complex than a mathematical equation, and I realize to create more realistic materials I need to have an absolute control on every aspect of my material creation. But I'm going to show you how to create, how to implement this factor into my custom Fresnel, and you will see it's extremely simple. There is nothing complicated. So this is the first version I use most of the time, and this is the second one you see in the previous video with the flakes. So let me show you that. So as always, we can control the Fresnel. You see, the intensity of the Fresnel and the specularity. Let me show you that. Whoops. Let me show you that. Okay. Can control the specularity like that. And we have this factor here, and this is where the energy conservation will come into place. When I'm gonna increase the influence node, is gonna, let me show you, the effect is gonna start to have less and less and less impact. You see? So I can control the Fresnel, but as you can see, it will have the effect will be very low. Okay, so how I set that up and what this node is for, let me show you that in a second. Okay, let's put the V1, and as you remember, this is the setup. So we have the layer weights with a math node combined with another one for controlling the intensity, and we use the mixed RGB magic to make that happen. And to be able to control the overall effect, the energy conservation, all we have to do is to create another math node, and I'm going to put it to multiply and plug it here. So let me create a diffuse shader. I'm gonna plug the slots here just because I want this progress bar, because it helped me visually when I'm creating material to remember if it's plastic where the progress bar is exactly. So that's why I use this instead. I'm gonna call it influence. And let me plug it here. So right now, as you can see, it is at 0. Let me put that here. Okay. Let me remove that. Okay. So now, as you can see, when it's at 0, it completely shut down everything, and that's not what I want. I want the inverse. When it's at 0, it has absolutely no effect on the Fresnel. So for that, all I need to do, I need to add a color and invert here. And this is simply this. So at 0, I will have no influence in it, and as I increase it, it's gonna attenuate the effect of the overall node. And this is how you had the energy conservation components in my custom Fresnel. So what this output is for, let me show you. Let me put, so what I did, I put the influence slot and plug it here. And I recall it roughness. Why? Let me show you that. Simply because most of the time to create the Fresnel, I use the glossy shader here. So let me plug here and let me put that to 0. And the problem is, if I want the energy conservation, the principle is as the surface became rough, the Fresnel would be less and less intense. And if I don't plug this component into the roughness, and for example, let me show you that, and I increase the influence here, is going to continue with the effect, but not based on the roughness of the glossy. So if you want to respect the real life behavior of certain type of materials, you will have to plug this one here. And as you increase the influence, in fact, will affect the roughness, as you can see here. And as the material become rough and rough and rough, as you can see, the Fresnel will start to disappear. You see? And when the material becomes less rough, it's going to be more intense. So the reason why I didn't integrate it directly, the glossy directly into this node, you can of course, but I choose not to do it because some materials, and I see that in real life, have such strange behavior. You can see sometimes at the grazing angle it is kind of rough, and in the front of you it's much more reflective, or vice versa. So that's why I choose to do it that way. It gives me so much control. For example, on plastic materials, you have sometimes it is a clear coat, but sometimes for whatever reason the cloth isn't super reflective, so you will have some soft, let me show you that. I'm going to show you that. It's going to be much more easier to understand. Okay, I'm going to plug, let me put that in red, for example. No, I'm going to change it to diffuse. Okay, let me plug that. Let me move that. I'm going to plug this here and plug this here. Maybe the color is a little bit too strong. Okay. And you can have materials they have, as you can see, sharp reflection, but it can be less intense than what you have right now. So you have to increase the influence to make it less, to make it a little bit less, but you will have sharp reflection, but it's not going to be very highly reflective. So I see that happen on toys, on the toys of my daughters, and that's why by observing that, I say, okay, so sometimes material didn't behave exactly the way it should in real life because of the toys already used. You have some little imperfection on it. You can see it unless you go really close. So when you go from away from this, you will have this effect because of that. So you have to take that in consideration. So this setup allows me to have really nice control to create more realistic materials. So this is it for the update. So you can choose to use this version or the first one as you want. It's not going to change not much. The only difference is you will have to plug the roughness if you want to to base the Fresnel on how the surface, if you have bumps and stuff like that, you have to plug the roughness to make it more believable. So that way you will be able to create more realistic materials. So this is it. It was a quick one about this update. So if you have any question, of course, don't hesitate to contact me at info.penfinity.com and on Instagram at pen_finity. It will be a pleasure for me to help if you have any question. And see you soon, everybody. Bye.